What is up, everybody? Welcome to another video in the channel. This is Danny. Today, we are going to be reviewing A Court of Thorns and Roses. So, let's begin. So, the first book in the series, man, Akatar, that's going to be the series. A Court of Thorns and Roses. I mean, it's honestly like the Beauty and the Beast, just like spicy. Pretty spicy, if I'm honest with you. So, this is my honest review on it. I Let's start with world building. I really like the world building in this book. I like the whole Fae human, kind of differences. I like the wall and all that stuff. Farah is a pretty interesting character to say the least. So yeah, I really like how Farah was written. I think it was pretty interesting how it starts off with her family's poor. Nesta, Elaine, her dad. She's pretty much the only one that is, keeping her family alive. So I, at first, so in this book, I don't really like Nesta. She just pretty much doesn't really do anything. Her family pretty much doesn't do anything. It's just Farah hunting and grabbing food for her family to survive, especially the winter. So, but Farah's perspective is pretty cool to read, to see what she goes through. I mean, all from killing that Fae, and it turns out that it was Tamlin's friend. Tamlin comes in the picture. Whole Beauty and the Beast. She has to go to Tamlin's spring court to not have him kill her family because she killed a Fae. So that was pretty cool. The Spring Court, it sounds pretty interesting. I did read the whole series, which I will cover, in the next couple videos. But this one's just for A Court of Thorns and Roses. But speaking about the Spring Court, not my favorite court. It is pretty cool, it's spring, it's sunny, it's just lots of flowers blooming, and good weather and stuff. So yeah, we get introduced to Lucian or Lucian. I don't know how people pronounce his name. I'm just gonna go with Lucian. But Lucian was a pretty cool character that I liked. I think he's a good friend of Farah. He's got this whole, loyalty to Tamlin. Tamlin took him in and everything. So I understand that. But you guys will learn from these reviews of Akatar. I absolutely do not like Tamlin. I do not like him. He's probably the character I dislike the most, and you guys will find out as we go with these reviews. But he's literally my number one most dislikable character in the series. I mean, I know maybe for a lot of people it could be the King of Hybern, Amarantha. That's understandable, but for me, it's Tamlin, man, and I will get to it. Not this book because the part where I seriously do not like him, it'll be in the next book and the third one as well. So, but yeah, and then from there, Amarantha has everybody cursed and stuff. They have to wear these like masks. That's a pretty cool concept. Before we knew about Amarantha, it was all about the a plague that was coming, but it was Amarantha the whole time, and she was one of the commanders for the King of Hybern, which you don't learn until later. But I'm trying really hard to just focus on this book, but so much happens in this series. It's so hard to contain it, but it's just my honest review, so I'm just gonna review it the easiest way I can. So Amarantha, she's the main, antagonist of this book, and Tamlin is trying to, break this curse. What does he have to do? He has to fall in love, blah blah blah, break the curse and all that stuff. So it's very spicy. They really get into it. Farah and Tamlin. You know, Shout out to Sarah for writing those spicy, moments. I think they were pretty well written and definitely spicy. They are not kidding about that. But yeah, they have the hunting. I forgot the name of it, but where Tamlin has to unleash his beast, and he has to go hunt and sleep with a woman that's gonna want to sleep with him or whatever. So I think that was a pretty cool thing to the story, pretty interesting. His beast transformation, that's pretty cool, but the phase too. So he's a high fae. He is of royal blood, so he's the High Lord of the Spring Court. So that's a pretty cool concept. I really like that. So and then we progress and progress, and she had a Farah had to go back to her family, and then she gets back, and Tamlin's gone. Spring Court is pretty empty. What happened? And then Rhysand, my boy, pops up. You guys will know he's my favorite character in the series. I love Rhysand. He's my favorite, like favorite character in the whole series. And so they progress to Amarantha, the whole finale. Tamlin kills Amarantha. They break the curse and all. Rhysand, becomes pretty interesting character, pretty important character. He will be important later on. And at the finale, the whole concept of the finale, like Farah goes from human to a fae. You know, that was pretty cool. I did not really see that coming. I thought she was gonna be human the whole time, just kind of But yeah, she becomes this whole new person, literally, like not just physically but mentally. And she's not the Farah that we knew most throughout most of the book. She turns into a Fae. She's very different. She still has, a good heart, a human heart, like they say. But yeah, the world building is phenomenal. I like the whole concept of the courts, the high Fae, the low Fae, all that kind of stuff. The beast transformations. But yeah, how much would I rate it? To conclude this review, honestly, I would give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10, solid. I think my only complaint was the pacing. I think it could have been a little quicker, and I may be a little biased now if I only read it before the rest of the books, because I mean, man, I can't wait to review the other books. But yeah, I mean, the pacing could have been a little faster. But besides that, I like the way the characters are written, the traumas they have. The whole Amarantha arc and everything. Everything is connected. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I honestly give the book an 8 out of 10. Not my favorite in the series, but I think it was a good starting foundation for the world of the Fae and the humans, and the concept of the courts and different types of high lords and all that stuff. So yeah, this is my honest review on A Court of Thorns and Roses. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought of the book, if you have read it, if you are close to finishing it or anything like that. It does have I do put a spoiler warning, so if you're watching this, it's because you already read it. But anyways, yeah, let me know what you guys thought of the book, and yeah, I looking forward to the sixth one whenever that comes out this year. I think Sarah Maas announced it on her Instagram or so that the draft was done, or I can't remember. It was a couple months ago, but yeah, whenever that book comes out, I am buying it, I'm reading it, and I am reviewing it. I really like the world. I really like the characters. I really like this series, so I am definitely looking forward to reading the sixth one. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I will see you guys on the next one. Peace out.